We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Boxingego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Shane Mosley says that Errol Spence has been off and a little bit timid. Now he leans towards Terence Crawford to beat Errol Spence if the mega fight were to happen. That's what I want to talk about in this video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego in the back with some more boxing. Fight Hype has an interview with Sugar Shane Mosley, legend in the boxing game, and he was weighing in. He talked about the welterweight division. He talked about up-and-comers. He said he liked Crawford. He said he liked Boots Ennis a lot, and Boots' demeanor and aggression, things like that. He was asked about the Terence Crawford-Errol Spence mega fight, undisputed, if it happens at 147. And what he said was interesting. I'm just going to paraphrase. You guys can check the interview. Basically, what he said was that Errol Spence has been off a little bit. Like, you know, I'm assuming he's referring to his layoffs and accidents and detached retinas. And he says he's been a bit more timid. And Crawford is like, I'm going to come get you. And with that I'm gonna get you aggression and type of attitude, he said before he was leaning towards Errol Spence, whereas now with Errol Spence being timid and being off and layoffs and things like that, plus Crawford's competitive streak and competitive edge, he says he's shading it towards Terence Crawford, right? Now, my thoughts are this. It's a great fight. At the end of the day, it's a great fight. Me, I told you, and I'm a man of my word, and a man got to be congruent with what he says. At the end of the day, I'm not really mad at anybody who picks Terence. I'm not mad at anybody who picks Errol, because it's that type of fight. It's just like Plant versus Benavidez. You can truly make a strong case for either fighter. It just depends on what you like and kind of what you've seen. So I never really had a problem with the legends of boxing picking either guy. However, I do think there's a level of bias that I've seen from a lot of the Hall of Famers when it comes to this fight particularly, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because Errol Spence is maybe not as sociable as Terence Crawford when it comes to like speaking with the legends, because Crawford's not necessarily the most sociable guy to media, but in terms of being sociable to other boxing legends, you typically see Crawford kind of at more of the events like the Boxing Hall of Fame. He had the arm cast, or his fist was cast at the Hall of Fame. He took a bunch of pictures with the legends, the Wars, the James Tonys, Floyd, Sugar Shane Mosley, Roberto Duran, etc. So that being said, I don't know. I don't know if it's like some personal bias because maybe Crawford, in terms of the boxing alumni, is out there a bit more. I don't know. But my thing is this. I'm not mad at anyone picking either guy, because that's what happens. If it's a great fight, that's the mark. Lennox and Mike Tyson. Hi, it's me, I'm Mike Tyson. You're gonna watch my fight with Lennox Lewis and Peter McNeely on Cox Cable. Right? Great fights like that. At the time, you don't know who to pick. You're gonna pick who you want to pick. So again, no beef with that. But everything when it comes to this boxing, I know I'm the best. When it comes to this boxing talk in the digital space, I know I'm that dude. Look at the prediction streaks, listen to what I say, listen to what comes true. That's all I'll say. The best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. So I don't have a problem with picking who you're gonna pick. It's all in the explanation though. How you explain your pick. If you're saying I'm picking woom, and I'm picking them because this, and then you're saying a bunch of things that are things that have historically been accurate and stuff, then that makes sense to me. But what I've noticed with this fight, particularly Spence and Terence Crawford, is a lot of people that are breaking down the fight, it's like a wishful thinking prediction, right? It's a wishful thinking prediction where people are telling Crawford, oh, just fight like Pernell Whitaker. But he doesn't fight like Pernell Whitaker. So if you're picking Crawford to beat Errol Spence and you're saying he's gonna box this and do this and move like this, but at welterweight, he's been aggressive. He hasn't really fought like that. So what makes you believe that he'll be able to effectively do that in this fight? And as far as Shane Mosley, I disagree with what Shane Mosley is saying based on the fact that he's saying that Errol Spence has been inactive, which he has had some layoffs, but he's also saying that Errol Spence has been a bit timid. I don't know what fight you've seen that in, because when I look at Errol Spence accident, when I look at him after the accident, when I look at him after the eye surgery with the detached retina, there was nothing about it that I even seen where he was fighting quote unquote timid, where he looked like he almost looked better than he did before that, possibly because he was having fat camps and stuff. He'll let you know that in some of his podcast interviews. He was saying that he would balloon up to 180, almost 190 or whatnot, and he have to drop weight in the first portion of camp. So when you do that, you take away from the ability to have a strategic game-oriented strategizing and game plan with a said opponent, because you have to sweat suits and sauna suits and you're running miles and stuff. You're trying to make weight and you have to pace that. So when Errol came back from these things, it was like he had a newfound vigor, because he actually had doubter. Even though he's undefeated, he actually had people who were doubting him. Oh, there were people saying all types of stuff. They were saying, oh, Errol won't be able to walk again after the accident, his spine or his back, he's paralyzed. I was reading a lot of stuff. Bob Arum even made some comments like, oh, Errol Spence, he's not going to be the same. I got that on good authority. People were saying that his teeth were messed up and he wouldn't be able to take a punch. People were saying he could go blind after the detached retina. So Errol's back was against the wall, and I think Errol Spence showed you who he was in that given moment. So I don't really understand what Shane Mosley is saying about Errol's been timid. I mean, he beat the brakes off of your Dennis Ugas. So I didn't see anything in there that was timid. I mean, he was timidly teeing off on Ugas's eye and turned him into a Cyclops. So I didn't see like him lose a step, so to speak. Now, the second part on top of the timid is Shane Mosley said that basically inactivity or these dry spells and layoffs. But what are we talking about? Because if that's what we're talking about, Errol Spence is younger than Terence Crawford. Crawford's older, and Crawford has fought one time a year for the last several years. He fought one time in 2020 at the end, like November, December, with Kell Brook. He fought one time in 2021 with a guy like Sean Porter, who was on a 400-day layoff and had already started his podcast and commentary career. And then he fought one time last year, 2022, against David Avanesian. So if we're talking about inactivity, and that if that's one of your talking points, then I don't really understand that, given the fact that Crawford literally is older on paper. You know what I mean? That's a factual thing. He's older, and he's fought one time a year, and he's fought lesser competition than Danny Garcia, than your Dennis Ugas, right? Ugas was a champion. Danny Garcia is a multiple division champion. David Avanesian would lose to both of those guys that Errol Spence fought. Errol already beat Sean Porter, and he only had one fight in between, which was Sebastian Formella. Then he had a 400-day layoff, and he said he knew he was retiring. So, yeah, I don't really understand that talking point from Shane Mosley, to be honest, about, inactivity, and now he sees it being different for Terence Crawford. I think if anything, if you had that stance, it would have been the best time for that would have been before he fought Danny Garcia, because I think a lot of us had questions about Errol Spence with how he was going to look when he returned ahead of that Danny Garcia fight. Because, I mean, it's not every day that a fighter goes through this cataclysmic, near-fatal accident. You don't know what to expect. You don't know that psychologically, they might have PTSD. You don't know what they're going to do. So I myself had, worries and things like that, because I really didn't know what to expect. But he's already shook that out, had the performance, took punches from Danny Garcia, took punches from Ugas without the mouthpiece, and he looked even sharper in the Ugas fight. So it's like, I don't really understand the breakdown from some of the boxing legends. Again, if you're picking Terence Crawford, that's not my issue. My issue is the explanation of why you're picking him. If you're saying it's activity, then Crawford has fought about the same amount of times with no known about injuries, with no car wrecks, with no detached retinas, with no eye surgery, and he's fought lesser competition. So if we're going off of activity and timid, I mean, it's definitely easier to be quote unquote less timid against lesser competition. But if you're in there with Danny Garcia and Ugas, then you gotta pick your shots and fight smart. Versus David Avanesian, yeah, you can afford to probably be more aggressive, especially when you had the blown up gloves, and then they were gonna potentially pause the fight or switch the glove. Terence Crawford stepped it up and got real aggressive because he knew there was no time to play. That's my thoughts. We unpacked. Introducing Super Thanks. Right here on the official Boxingego YouTube. Super Thanks allows you, the viewers, to show a little bit of extra gratitude, which enables me as a full-time content creator to push out the content you need in the world of boxing. Underneath all the videos, you will see a heart with the $sign in it. You can enter any amount that you find suitable as a super thanks. A brand new interactive and colorful way to get your comments highlighted and noticed by not only myself, but other people on the YouTube platform. Super thanks, a unique and cool way to show and applaud us full-time content creators. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content. Super thanks. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster. We working.